Paano binago ng Miraculous Medal ang isang satanista at ngayon isa na siyang proud Catholics? Hi, my name is Adrian, Milag, and welcome again to my vlog. Una sa lahat, gusto ko ulit magpasalamat sa inyo dahil na-reach na natin ang 70,000 subscriber milestone dito sa aking YouTube channel.
Oh my God! Wow!
Maraming salamat mga ka-faith sa inyong unending support dahil kung wala ang inyong suporta ay hindi to posible. At maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nagko-comment, yung magagandang message nyo sa akin regarding my vlog, how my vlog impacted your life, how my vlog bless you, how God speak to you through my vlog. Sobrang na-appreciate ko kayong lahat. Thank you so much. At dahil nga sa sinabi ko, pag na-reach na natin ang 70,000 subscriber milestone, ay mamimigay tayo ng 7 merchandise item. So, ano nga ba itong pamimigay nating mga merchandise item? Mamimigay tayo ng 7 I Conquered 2020 with Jesus na merchandise mugs. So, paano ka nga ba pwedeng manalo ng merchandise item na to? Tapusin mo tong vlog na to para malaman mo yung mechanics kung paano ka pwedeng manalo ng ating merchandise item. Okay, so back to the topic. Sino nga ba tong dating satanista na dahil sa Miraculous Medal ay naging Katoliko na siya ngayon? Ang pangalan nito ay si Zachary King. Okay, alam nyo kung napanood mo yung recent vlog ko regarding sa ex-Satanist na sinabi niya yung tungkol sa consecrated host. Iisang tao lang din to. Itong si Zachary King, siya din yun, yung shinare ko nung last vlog ko. At alam nyo ba na very interesting ang kanyang naging conversion? At kung paano nagpakita sa kanya si Mama Mary through the Miraculous Medal. Kaya siya naging Katoliko. Gusto ko lang magbigay ng disclaimer. Okay, itong Miraculous Medal na vision, na nagkaroon ng supernatural vision si Saint Catherine Labor, kaya nagkaroon ng Miraculous Medal. Alam nyo, itong mga medal na to, itong mga sacramental na meron kami sa Catholic faith, ay hindi to mga agimat, hindi to anting-anting, at hindi to mga pampaswerte, parang lucky charm, parang hindi to ganun, okay? Hindi natin pwedeng itanggi na meron tayong mga kapatid sa pananampalataya na ito yung mindset pagdating sa mga medals, sa mga ganyan, di ba? Parang iniisip na pag sinuot nila yan ay parang agimat at papasok na yung mga blessings sa buhay nila. Parang feng shui or lucky charm to. Pero hindi to ganun. Alam nyo, itong mga medals na to, like yung Miraculous Medal, Benedictine Medal, yung mga crucifix, rosary, at iba pang mga sacramentals natin, ay yan ay nagpapaalala sa atin ng grasya ng Diyos. Yan ang nagre-remind sa atin how God is faithful to us. Okay? Hindi to lucky charm, hindi to anting-anting, hindi to pampaswerte. Sila yung nagsisimbolize kung gaano kabuti ang Diyos. Na every time na nakikita mo katulad ng Miraculous Medal, na-inspire ka bilang isang Katoliko na maging katulad ka ni Mama Mary. Diba? How she become a faithful follower and disciple of Christ. Na yung pagde-disciple niya papunta sa anak niya. Katulad ng Miraculous Medal na to, ito yung ginagamit ng Diyos para ipaalala sa atin kung gaano niya tayo kamahal. Ipaalala sa atin ng Diyos kung sino ka. Today, gusto ko i-share sa iyo yung naging conversion story ni Zachary King. Okay, may papanood ako sa yung video, yung interview niya regarding this. I'm sure na sobrang mabe-bless ka na dating isang satanista ngayon isa ng proud Catholic. Okay, so watch this video.
I find out that there's an organization called the Illuminati, you know, and I get to work for them. I help rock stars sell their souls through the Illuminati, you know, and I'm thinking, you know, this is such an easy job. You know, there's so much stuff to do, but I mean, I get to meet rock stars, I get to party with rock stars, I'm meeting actors, you know, and everybody that meets me, they meet me, I'm in the costume. And so they don't really know who I am. I'm meeting billionaires. I'm meeting kings and queens and monarchs and presidents, and I get to travel everywhere. But
without a passport. So how does that happen?
Sometimes without a passport. I eventually did have to have a passport, but after 9/11 happened, then I had to get myself a passport. But prior to that, I mean, it was like when I first got it, and I equate it many times to working in a candy store, and not just a candy store in the mall, but like a freestanding building where you're looking at tens of thousands of pieces of candy, and you're wondering, how long is it going to take you to try every piece of candy? Now, not the licorice, because nobody wants that, but the regular candy. And that is the sins. How many sins are there in the world? Not every sin, because some sin's disgusting. You don't want to do every sin. But the sins you want to do, how long does that take? Well, after 6 months, you've tried all your favorite candy, at least once. And after a year, you've tried the candy you swore you'd never try. So after a year, you've done the sins that you swore you'd never do. But, when you can sin all you want, sins get boring after a while. But then, when you first start working there, there's these red tiles on the walls and the floor that are beautiful and bright and cheerful and make you happy when you look at them. But after a while, they're dull, listless. You can never get them as clean as they did that first day on the job. So that's kind of like, that's not as exciting as it used to be.
So where's your family during all this time? They think you're out there at college and have a new job? Is there a girlfriend involved? Or I guess you didn't, I don't want to get into your personal life, but.
There's multiple girlfriends at this time. My parents, my brother was special needs, and he required much of my parents' attention. And my brother would never tell on me no matter what. I could do anything, and my brother could have caught me doing it, and he wouldn't tell. And, which was to me a plus. Hey, my brother's not telling, that's great. And, my parents kind of suspected that I was up to no good, but they didn't catch me. And my dad is really big on, you've got to catch somebody doing something wrong for them to be doing something wrong. And if you're not catching them, then maybe
they're really good or they're not doing anything wrong.
Right. And I'm sure he suspected the whole time that I was up to no good.
It would be hard to hide all that money and monetary goods, although you were not lacking growing up.
Right.
All right. So, go ahead.
So, I get to travel. I get to meet rock stars. I get to do all this stuff that's fun, but after a while, you have to travel. You have to sin because it's expected of you. You have to meet these people. You have to do magic spells for them. I don't want to do this stuff, but, let's go back to, there's 3 ways to escape. I can kill myself, I can be murdered, or I can die of natural causes. And all 3 of those methods, I end up in hell. I don't want to die. When I was a kid and I signed my soul away, it was, super cool. I'm going to die when I'm 90 years old, and I've got time to change my mind, and, and all of that. But at some point, you're like, wait, I don't actually know when I'm going to die. I'm not 10 foot tall and bulletproof. Like
I would think that it would be like the mafia. When you try to leave, no, you're not going to leave.
Right. And anytime you think about getting out, somebody stops by your house and drops a hint that they know what you're thinking about.
Paranoia
I'm not telling
kicks
anybody.
in.
Right, paranoia kicks in. And you're being watched all the time. There's always somebody coming by your house.
Even as a high wizard.
Even as the high wizard,
so they're watching
especially
your back.
The high wizard, they're watching everything you do. And you have to write reports on stuff that you're doing, your magic stuff, everything has a report. And, you start thinking, okay, I've got 2 bank accounts. One has $85 million in it, and one of them has $12 million. Now, Now, the bank account that's really mine has $265 in it.
But you have access to the other ones.
I have access, but everybody watches if any money comes out. Like there's accounts that my bills go to, but my real bills, I've had times when I've bounced checks and I'm worth negative money, because my account has $265.
So even though your name's on it, it's the Coven's account.
Right, it's the Coven's account. I have a house. I have a house at one time when I lived in Tallahassee, Florida. I lived in an area of town called Frenchtown. It's the ghetto. It's like I'm the closest.
They wouldn't let you stay in your house?
Well, because the house that I live in Tallahassee is not a cover town. Tallahassee is where I really live. So that's my real place. But if you went to Atlanta, I have a condo. If you went to Manhattan, I lived in a high-rise. If you went to California, I have a place in Calabasas. I have a nice mansion.
All being paid for by the Coven.
Yeah, all of these places paid for by the Coven. And this is where, like, Satan's all about using your illusion. If you see me at one of those places, I'm wearing an Armani suit. If you see me at my house, I'm wearing cut-off jeans and a metallic shirt because that's my real clothes. I have a garage in Calabasas that has 12 cars in it. And they're all nice. They're all super nice and fast and, and all of that. But my real car is a Nissan Sentra. And it's not even a new Nissan Sentra. It's older, and it's got dents in it.
Why would they let you drive a Nissan Sentra when all these cars are there?
Because that's my real car.
Right.
I don't have the persona.
Couldn't they give you a new real car?
Yeah, they could, but there's no fun in that for them.
It's a business.
It is like a business.
And you're using.
In Tallahassee, right, I'm being used. In Tallahassee, that's where the real me lives. That's where I'm not putting on airs. I'm not acting like I'm something that I'm not. But in these other places, it's all about everybody wants to be the High Wizard, and this is what the High Wizard has. He has these cars and that house. And
funneling money into the Coven and Satan's church. But I would think that they're going to throw you a bone so you don't bounce a check.
Well, I get gifts sometimes. I had at one time, I had the Conan the Barbarian pinball machine, which if you've ever seen it, the ball itself is the size of a bowling ball. And the rest of the game is equally that large.
I have not seen it.
It was a wonderful pinball machine. And, I had video games and I had my regular car, and then sometimes one of the places I did a spell for, they gave me a Land Rover. It was very nice to have it, but I couldn't really afford it because the insurance on a Land Rover was kind of expensive.
Yeah, that's just amazing that all that money's there and they let you, but then that's Satan.
Right.
Okay,
right.
I get it. So it sounds like you've done all the sins, eaten all the candy, and you're getting tired, maybe if you're looking for a change of scenery, but you don't know how to get out.
Right. So I decide that I'm going to pilfer a little money, even out of my own account.
That's a sin. Sorry.
I just want, I have to take it out a little bit per month.
Embezzling your own account as a Satanist.
For a few months.
Zachary, you're killing me.
And
no spells, though.
I just need, I need to take out $1,200 to $1,500. It's my own money, but I can't just take it all out at once because they'd be like, what's he doing with that? It's got to be like, I'm going to take 20 bucks out here, 40 bucks there. Eventually I have a nice little amount of money, and I make a doctor's appointment at a satanic doctor because everybody we know is a Satanist. And I make an appointment and I drive that way. I'm on the interstate.
So if they're looking at you, he's going to the doctor.
I'm going to the doctor.
I understand it now because I heard you say this before in a talk, and I'm like, I don't get it yet.
And the doctor's appointment is at 5 p.m. It's the last appointment of the day. So I'm going to get on the interstate and I'm going to head that way. But instead of getting off where I'm supposed to, I kept going. And I drove out of town, and I drove till I ran out of gas.
I can't believe it. I mean, you must have been so paranoid, looking in the rear mirror. And,
I was.
Good grief.
And
you're running for your life.
Right. And, you know, I drove till I ran out of gas. I spent the night in my car. And the next day, I hitchhiked to the next town. I sold my car for scrap, and I bought a Greyhound bus ticket. And I tried to go into Canada, and I got rejected at the border. And so they told me I could go anywhere in the United States that Greyhound goes. And I kind of opened up a United States atlas, closed my eyes, and just put my finger down. Landed on Oklahoma, and I was like, okay, going to Oklahoma. And I went there. I lived off the grid for almost 3 years. And then I bought another car.
How did you survive off the grid? Just odd jobs?
Odd jobs, yeah.
What were you doing for your party money? I mean, because you got probably many addictions.
At that point, marijuana, cocaine, and booze were my favorite drugs of choice.
And they're not free.
They're not free.
So I guess you were living a life of crime to make ends meet, maybe.
I was a bouncer in a few of the bars there.
Oh, yeah.
And then I also got a job working at one time Walmart and another time Kmart.
So there was no I-9, so you were able to use an alias?
Yeah.
So since
I changed my name when I got to Oklahoma. Since
you flew the coop, I mean, were you concerned about, because you always hear stories, you leave and we've got your family?
Well, I didn't have, I had given up on my family years before. I stopped contacting them. I didn't want my parents drug into any of this.
Wow.
And, I made sure that there was nothing traceable to my parents.
And how old are you now at this time?
At that time,
Off the grid?
I was about 33 years old.
And you were a high wizard for how long, so we can kind of keep our numbers together? 12 years was a high wizard.
So 21 to 33.
I would imagine 12 years as a high wizard, you could write a book.
It's a lifetime.
Folks, this book is by Zachary King. It's called Abortion is a Satanic Sacrifice. You probably won't get no arguments out of the pro-lifers that I know. But the fact that Zachary knows it's a satanic sacrifice, in a nutshell. I mean, people will either believe you or he's making it up. How can we tell the people that it's a satanic, yeah, maybe, but not all of them, I've heard you make reference before that there's probably one coven member at every, place that they do these.
Every abortion clinic usually has at least one coven member. And they can deny that.
Sure.
But, I know from going into them that it's true.
They would invite you to come in to get blood, to have a good, powerful spell, and then just move along.
Right.
That's just amazing. And the women had no idea that they were being used as a devilish spell?
Some of them did.
Some of them did? Well, all right. So you realized, I guess, maybe the error of your ways yet. Obviously you're running.
I'm, yeah. And then...
Folks, this has a good ending, trust me.
I bought a car and I tried to make it into Canada again. I got rejected again at the border.
No passport.
And no passport. And a friend told me that there was a crossing near Vermont where there was no border guard.
But you're in Oklahoma, so that's a long drive.
It was. And I tried, I had gone from Oklahoma to Maine, and I was going to go to, I think it's called Prince Edward Island. I had met a friend there, and so I was going to escape and go there, and then I couldn't. I got rejected, so I was heading back across the United States.
So you still have all your powers, able to do spells.
Right.
So you're still in with the devil.
Right.
Okay.
I don't belong to an official satanic coven, but I'm still doing all the magic still.
Gotcha.
I don't do abortions anymore, but I'm still doing all the magic because I'm addicted. I still love doing it. And so I drive to this border crossing near Vermont. And on the way there, I'm just a couple of hours away. I am so sleepy. I've got to pull over and take a nap. So I do that. I pull over at a rest stop and I take a nap. And when I wake up, it's the next day. Like, I didn't think I was tired enough to sleep the entire night. I thought I was just going to sleep for like an hour or two.
Little divine intervention, maybe?
Possibly. When I woke up and I'm like, well, it's the next day. What difference does it make? I'll just drive across now. So I drove a couple of hours and I get there and I'm driving across the border and this border guard pulls me over. And, you know, I'm like, what? There's not supposed to be anybody here. And I pull my car over and I get out of the car and he tells me that he's going to have to search my car inside and out, top to bottom. I'm like, okay, whatever. And there's no border. There's no station there. There's nothing. There's no place to go.
And you had contraband or anything in your car? Weren't you worried about? Okay.
No. But,
so Barney Five does his thing.
Barney Five does his thing. He's really nice man. And he tells me how he's been trying to get this job for 3 years. And this is his very first day on the job.
And you had to sleep 16 hours so this guy could stop you. How does that play into God's plan here?
I'm thinking God's got a sense of humor.
We know that.
If I would have driven across the border yesterday,
scot-free,
I'd be in Canada now. And but instead, here we are. So I get rejected at the border, and
turned you around. And
yep, I'm worth $18, and I've got half a tank of gas. So I drive to Burlington, Vermont, and I get a job my first day in town as a dishwasher at a place called Nectar's. And then I ended up being head of security there. And then I ended up getting another job as head of security at another club.
Still under your alias names?
Yeah. And I got a job as the GM. And then from there I went into retail. And I was always a manager at a retail store. And I eventually got a job at a place called Piercing Pagoda. And one night I did a magic spell. And the next day I went to work. And, you know, I was the manager at Piercing Pagoda, and this woman came up and she wants to buy a pair of gold hoop earrings, and I present her with the perfect pair, and then she says, well, actually, I'm shopping with my daughter, and when I'm done, I'll come back and I'll make the purchase. Everybody that says that means I'm going to go find it cheaper someplace else. But she had an honest face. I knew she was really coming back. And sure enough, in 3 hours, she comes back. We do the transaction. And at the end of the deal, I said, if you call the 800 number on this receipt and take a survey, you might win $1,000. And I was really happy dealing with her. She was just a fantastic personality, a lovely lady. And she said, I've got something for you too.
Probably thinking Watchtower pamphlets.
I was actually thinking Jack Chick pamphlet. I thought she's going to be one of these evangelical types and, you know, tell me I'm sinning and I need to drop to my knees and beg for forgiveness. And,
luckily, she didn't do the evil spirit come out. I'm just saying.
You know, everything that I was expecting her to do, you know, I was like, man. Because I've had evangelical types follow me home to evangelize to me, you know, and I'm like, okay, so I'll just swear I'm going to be like the devil. I'm going to be 99% truth and 1% lie. I'm going to swear I'm going to read this pamphlet. I'm going to read the cover, and then I'm going to throw it in the trash. And instead, she pulls out a little gold-colored piece of tin, very cheap. Now, I work at Piercing Pagoda. I recognize cheap jewelry because we sell cheap jewelry. And I know that this is a gold-colored piece of tin. I don't know what it is. It's a miraculous metal, but I don't know that at the time. And we sold miraculous metals, but I didn't know what they were. They weren't titled. You know, they didn't have names on them. They had like an MM on them. I don't know what that means. Sure. And she pulls this thing out, and she says the weirdest thing I've ever heard. You know, I partied with rock stars. You know, you put unlimited booze and drugs into somebody that can write a song, and they'll say some weird stuff. You know, and she said, the Blessed Mother is calling you into her army. I grew up Baptist.
Oh, you don't know that song? That's interesting.
I grew up Baptist. We've got the name Mary. We don't have any titles. I don't know who the Blessed Mother is. I'm thinking Isis, Gaia. I have no clue. And then she says it's really powerful. Christians don't bless anything. So this woman represents some female deity cult.
That
Clearly.
probably got your interest, though, didn't it?
Well, it did in some ways, but in other ways I was thinking, I came from two big cults. I'm not interested in yours. I'm not looking at becoming another high wizard of another coven. So
You
many
had
covens,
magic.
so many covens are connected.
Mm-hmm.
I can't afford to join a coven and then find out they're connected to Satan's World Church.
Right. They'll find you.
And then they'll find me. Yeah, I don't want this to happen.
Did you change your look or anything?
No, I had. I did. I had a dreadlock. I had long hair, but I had long hair before. I grew a beard, sometimes a mustache or a goatee, because when you're a high wizard, you don't have any face paint.
Because of the paint.
You don't have any face hair because of the face paint. So, see, I'm not quite sure what to. I'm dressed pretty nice as a manager, and
so you're supposed to join the army, okay?
Yeah, but I'm thinking, how is it that the crazy people always find me? Like, here it is, she's talking on and on and on about all this stuff that I need to do. I'm not even paying attention. I'm just like, I got to do something to change the way I look or the way I act. Something about how I look must say that I need saving.
The doctor is in.
And I need to do something different. And she says again, it's really powerful. And now I'm taking that as a challenge. Like, no, I'm the high wizard.
Now for the people that I want to, what was your percent? You had a percent. There was a number to it of success with your magic.
I was 91% accurate.
91% accurate for Satan.
Now, to get that percentage, your magic spells have to take place within 90 days. Anything that takes longer than 90 days, you don't get credit for.
Okay.
Unless it's a spell that's supposed to take place in 5 years. And then if it's a time spell, you get automatic credit because it's not fair that credit, that goes against you. Because it's, you're 91% accurate now, most likely that's going to come true.
Okay, so we got the blessed metal. You don't know what it is. She's talking on and on. Because I want to make sure that we get this in. And then we got to talk about what you learned about the rosary.
So, I'm thinking, I don't want to take this thing, whatever it is. But when she challenged me with it's very powerful, there's no way. I could have been the one high wizard out of 7 billion people in the world. There's no way that little worthless gold-colored piece of tin can touch me. And I stuck my hand out. And she was all giddy because, oh my gosh, he's willing to take the medal. And she drops it in my hand and I clench my fist around it. My plan is, because I could feel anything used in a magic spell, and I could tell you that was used in a protection spell. That was used in a death spell. Your friend found this at a garage sale and made up a story about it. And I know I'm going to feel nothing. And I'm going to toss it on the floor, slam it on my counter, and tell her it's worthless. And if she wants to return the gold and get her money back, that's fine. And if she wants to call my boss and complain, my boss will never believe that I had bad customer service. Because I make my days, my weeks, my months, my quarters, and my year. So, do whatever you want to do. But I'm going to tell her this is worthless. And she drops it in my hand and I clench my fist, all ready to tell her this stuff, except that when I clench my fist, my store and my mall completely disappeared.
But you're still conscious.
I'm still conscious, but everything's gone. I'm standing in a darkened void. It's me and the woman that gave me the medal, and she tells me about the magic spell I did the night before and says, and that's of the devil. And she tells me about the 100 plus assisted abortions I've done, and that's of the devil. And the 100 plus Baptist churches I helped split around the world, and that's of the devil. And she does about 10 more sins that nobody knows I did in this town, and she ends everything with, and that's of the devil.
Very similar to the Lord with the woman at the well. He tells her life story. She's like, how does he know this?
And I'm terrified. Let's go back to, I could have been the one high wizard out of 7 billion people. I don't have the magic to transport 2 people to a darkened void and know all of one of them's sins.
Yeah, levitation, that's nothing, man. This is good stuff here, right?
Her magic is stronger than mine. I don't know what to do. I want to let go.
Wow.
But what happens if I let go and I fall through this darkened void? What happens if I don't find my way back to my store? I don't know what to do. I'm sweating. And she says again, the Blessed Mother is calling you into her army. But this time when she said that, I knew that was the Mother of God. And when I knew it was the Mother of God, Mary showed up. And she smiled at me.
The same lady, just like transformed, or?
No, it was Mary. It was the Blessed Mother.
That was the lady that was talking to you the whole time in disguise?
No, that woman, that was Mary Ann Wickman.
Okay.
That was the woman that gave me the medal.
Right. But the Blessed Mother showed up.
The Blessed Mother showed up. And this is like the prettiest woman I've ever seen in my life. And she smiled at me, and I knew I did not deserve that smile. I was acutely aware of my 146 assisted abortions. And it was just the most incredible happening. And she takes me by the hand that has the medal in it, and she turns me around. And Divine Mercy Jesus is standing behind me. And I've got these rays of light going around me and under me and through me. And I don't know what Divine Mercy is. I don't know what these rays of light mean.
Did you know that this was Christ? I mean, for some, okay, yeah,
I knew it was Jesus
at one time.
Yeah, I knew it was Jesus, but I didn't know what Divine Mercy Jesus was. You know, and I knew instantly that I did not sell my soul to the devil when I was 13. You know, I knew that all my New Age and Satanism and occultism and magic was fake. You know, and I knew that everything Catholic was truth.
Wow, I think your next book ought to be called From Saul to Paul. This is great, Zachary. I mean, I'm finally glad for the listeners as well that we are getting to the point where God's love, because, you know, everybody likes to hear about God's love, and just it's inspiring.
And
all right.
The Blessed Mother told me my job was to help her end abortion. And I opened my hand and I was back in my store. This woman is still talking to me. She tells me,
did you do one of these? You know, like looking around, what happened here?
And she tells me where she goes to Mass and gives me the address. And she told me that she was Father Joseph Whalen's personal assistant in the St. Raphael Healing Oil Ministry. And I have no idea who these people are. And while she's talking to me, her cell phone rings. And she looks at it and she goes, oh, this is Father Joe. I've got to take this call. You know, I said, well, you just said he's the busiest priest you met, you know, and all that. Go ahead and take the call. And so at that time, Father Joe was going deaf, and he talked like everybody was going deaf. And she takes the phone call. She's like, Father Joe, what can I do for you? Can you hand the phone to the young man you're talking to? You know, and she's like, oh, here you go.
You can hear this, right?
I can hear this. She hands me the phone. I'm shaking like Ozzy Osbourne. You know, I'm like, hello? Welcome to the faith. Hand the phone back to Marianne. So, yeah, thank you, Father. And then we got like 2 more phone calls like that. Then her daughter comes up to the counter and she says, would you bring this man one of each of everything? And her daughter disappears and she comes back and one of each of everything. You know, there's like, I don't know, 200 Lighthouse Catholic media discs and pamphlets. Why do Catholics do this or believe that? And I got a Catholic Bible. And then the next day, I went to daily Mass for the first time. I took a friend with me. And at the consecration, I saw Jesus. I thought everybody in the room saw the same thing. I thought, wow, this is like the best kept secret from me ever. You know, like, and I turned to my friend and I said, you see that? She said, what? I said, that guy up there. She goes, what guy? I said, the guy on the stage. She goes, that's the priest. I said, no, the other guy.
Stage, I like that. For the altar, I like it.
I said, the other guy. And she says, I don't see another guy. And I said, you don't see it because you're not Catholic. Because I thought everybody in the room was Catholic. Everybody could see Jesus at the consecration. It was still a few days before I found out that I was the only one seeing this stuff. You know, and then finding out that there was a place called Perpetual Adoration where I could go and see Jesus anytime. And I was like, is there like a sign-up sheet for that? Do I have to like add my name to a list and then eventually they'll call me when it's my turn to go? You know, and she's like, no, you just go anytime. You know, which didn't make any sense to me. There's a line to get in to see Elvis, and he's been dead for 40 years. So, you know, I go, and shock number one, our car was the only other car in the parking lot. You know, shock number two, there's no line to get in. Shock number three, we enter the chapel, and it's me and my assistant and Jesus. And,
it is the best kept secret, isn't it?
And this woman, yeah. And this woman looks up like a deer in the headlights and packs her stuff as fast as she could go.
Her hour's up.
I mean, if this was an Olympic event, she got gold. And then she just announced, you can't leave till someone else comes in. And bam, she's out the door. You know, and I'm thinking, why would I leave? I'm in a room with God. You know, that became my normal hangout, anywhere from 1 to 18 hours a day.
So this led you into RCIA.
Yes.
Because obviously they're taking care of you.
Right.
And the power is amazing.
They got me a spiritual director. My first director was Father Anthony Gramlich. He's the rector for the National Shrine of Divine Mercy in Stockbridge, Massachusetts. And he said I at least needed a deliverance and I might need an exorcism. So I went back to Monsignor, and that was the priest that was bringing me into the church. And I told him, this is what Father Anthony says. And he said, well, one thing, he goes, you're sitting in front of the Blessed Sacrament for 18 hours a day. There's no demon willing to do that.
Right.
He goes, and second of all, he said, at your conversion, Mary and Jesus showed up. He goes, that scared the hell out of anything that was with you. He said, so he did a deliverance on me, but I didn't get an exorcism. And I had satanic gifts that I didn't know that I had. And they left when I got my deliverance. I no longer had them. And this happened in January of 2008. I officially entered the Catholic Church in May of 2008. And I worked a little bit with St. Raphael for a couple of years. And then the Blessed Mother told me I had to start my own ministry and, you know, come up with a cool name. So it's like, okay. So I had taken Benedict as my confirmation name, my saint. And so I really like St. Benedict, but I really like Padre Pio as well.
He's a rock star.
And then I really like Blessed Bartolo Longo. And, you know, and then I had a true devotion to the Blessed Mother, you know, but I'm thinking the St. Benedict, Padre Pio, Blessed Bartolo Longo, Blessed Mother ministry doesn't roll off the tongue. And then I started thinking about, well, we're all about inclusion in this country. So I should do All Saints Catholic Ministry. So I started that in 2010, and it's been a wild ride so far, but definitely working for God is so much better than working for the devil.
Well, amen, brother. So I would have to guess from some of the things I've heard, and just assuming that you would be still using an alias because you don't want the bad guys to...
Right.
All right. Because I remember I saw a jihadist that had converted to Christianity, and he had a bodyguard with him all the time. You know, nobody said it was a bodyguard, but when I saw him talk at the church, I'm like, that guy's armed, man. I know he's armed, you know. I mean, my dad was an FBI, so, you know. All right, so you converted to Catholicism. Did you tell your parents?
I did tell my parents when I converted to Catholicism, and I really thought that they would disown me because my mother had converted from, she had grown up Catholic, and she converted to being Baptist so she could marry my dad. And then my dad, when I was a little kid, when I was between 1st and 3rd grade, my dad would give me a ride to school and I would walk home. And both ways I passed a Catholic church. I never knew what this building was. I mean, I knew it's got stained glass windows, same as my Baptist church, and they've got a crucifix, we've got a cross. I didn't know the difference. And they've got this big bell that you hear ring X number of times a day. And every once in a while, I mean, at the Baptist church, the preacher wore a suit and his wife wore a flowery dress. Well, outside these places, there's like a man wearing a black shirt and a black jacket sometimes and black
tuxedo.
pants. And sometimes it looked like he was wearing foot pajamas. I don't know what that was about. And then these women were dressed in blue, brown, or black dress that went from the top of their head down to the ground. Couldn't tell which woman was married to what man. And one day, I was walking past, and there was this nun out there. I didn't know there were priests and nuns, but this nun out there looked like love. If you looked up the word love in the dictionary, her picture would have been there. And I ran up to give her a hug. And she bent down, she knelt down, and she gave me a hug back. It was a really long hug. And then after a while, I looked up and saw my friends way off in the distance. So I ran off to be with them. But the next day, when my dad's giving me a ride past, I got to know what this building is. Like, I've got a burning desire. Yeah, I was like, Dad, what's that? It's the Catholics. I'm 8 years old. I can read the sign that says Catholic Church. What's a Catholic? It doesn't matter. They're all going to hell. So that's the knowledge I had about the Catholic Church my entire life, is that one day I was going to go to hell and I would see all the Catholics there.
So you might as well just sell your soul to the devil, make it official.
Yeah, you know, just I'll beat you there.
All right. So explain to the people that you have 146 assisted suicides. I'm sorry, assisted abortions. But you tried 103 extra ones.
I did. I tried 149.
149. So 3 fails.
Right.
And I thought it was interesting that you said even high wizards have paperwork.
Right.
And you guys keep records and this and that. And, well, anybody would want, what did I do wrong? So you got all the paperwork, and there was one common denominator there. Yeah, it had to have baffled you because you were the man. Right.
And 146 is not even close to the most abortions done by a high wizard. But everything, I mean, I'm 91% accurate, and 3 of my abortions failed. And at one of my abortions, most of our abortions happen, if they're going to happen in an actual clinic, they happen after hours. My 3 failed ones happened during the day. So during regular business hours. And I go into this place and I have an entourage with me. We're going to do a magic spell. And the woman's there. She's a breeder. She knows why she's there. You know, she's given up her baby to, you know, for this abortion. And I'm standing up there with my handler. My handler is who brings me my sins, basically. And we're standing there. There's these large jalousie windows with a huge crank. And everybody's ready for the abortion. But I'm looking out across the street. We have a satanic biker gang on our side of the street. And they're flicking cigarettes over on the other side. And there's people standing over there just being silent and using prayer beads, prayer ropes, worry beads. And these are all the things that I call them. I didn't know what they were. And at one point, all these people across the street drop down to their knees. And they pull out these worry beads. And, you know, just to go into town on them, you know, one bead after another. And we can hear them, but we can't make out what they're saying. So I use the jealousy crank and crank the window open so I can hear what they're saying. And I repeat back what I'm hearing. And I'd never heard anything Catholic. So I'm listening to Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. None of that made any sense to me. And then my handler said the other part, Holy Mary, Mother of God. And we burst out laughing because who can be the mother of God? And then we repeated it a couple more times, and then I closed the window. And I went over, it's time to do the abortion. And as we're getting ready to do everything, and my mask is on, my gloves are on, I've got my high wizard costume on, and the doctor says, wait, you're not even dilated. This is a waste of time. Why are we here? Like, perhaps we can come back tomorrow. You know, and I said, not me. I got other stuff to do tomorrow, so I'm out of here. And the woman starts cussing both of us out, that we're stupid. You know, the baby's in the birth canal. It's time to go. You know, it's time to rock and roll. You know, and she tells me, is this your first rodeo too?
Doesn't sound like her first rodeo.
No, not hers. You know, and she asked me if it's mine, and I was like, no. She goes, we need to check because I'm dilated. And I said, I'm not a doctor. I couldn't tell you if you're dilated or not. And the doctor's like, she's not. Trust me. And so, you know, she tells me, you need to get down there and get to business, you know, and I'm like, I'm not the doctor. I'm not the guy that does this, you know, and she's yelling at him some more. I ask him, are you sure? Can you check one more time? He checks again. She says she's not dilated. We talk for like another 20 seconds and we hear a baby cry. And we both look down and the baby came out. Well, out of the womb murder. We're not going to kill the baby at this point. The baby came out, so it's going to be a social worker, a nurse, and an attorney that comes in and gets the baby adopted to a regular family. And there's people that want these babies. And it's a non-Satanist. And now we're done. You know, we walk out, now I've got to do more paperwork.
More divine intervention.
I've got to do more paperwork because I've got a failed abortion. But then this time, this was my third one. And so when I got back to the office, I said, I need you to pull all the High Wizard reports on failed abortions. So I want to read them all. I want to see what's the common denominator. But reading them all, every report said something about there being people there that were protesting, and that was a common denominator, but none of those people belonged to the same, it didn't say that they belonged to the same church or the same organization. Some of them didn't even belong to church.
Oh, we come from all over.
And there were people praying Jesus beads, Jesus rope, worry beads, all kind of different titles, but nobody called it a rosary.
You're learning something new every day.
And it wasn't until, like, I've been, you know, on this side of things, and I saw people praying rosaries. And I was, you know, it was like, you know, the light bulb goes off. Oh my gosh, it's a rosary. That's what it was. That's what caused the abortions to fail. You know, I never knew that's what, if Jesus or if God had put it in my head that it was a rosary, we would have probably stopped doing abortions during regular business hours, because that's when you guys show up with your rosaries.
Not enough, evidently, because, you know, there's a lot more kids we could save out there. So what's your opinion about the new laws that are coming out this year? Abortion seems to be kind of slipping from our pro-life grasp, and it's just frustrating.
Well, you know, in my book, I mentioned that the way that we fight abortion in this country is Einstein's definition of insanity. You know, it's doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. You know, we you know, in 1973, we decided, hey, let's send some people to march in Washington, D.C., and let's change some laws and see what we can do. You know, and when we first started, we sent a few thousand people. This year, we sent 1 million people. Now, you have to go and march because you have to present to the world that this is unacceptable. But you can't keep marching and think that's going to work, because we keep doing it. And then the next year, abortion is legal, same as it always is. And then what do? We send more people to march and we write new laws.
And Christianity is the majority, and Catholic is the majority of that. And they go in there proud of their faith, and they pull that curtain and vote for the enemy.
Right.
That's why, well,
it was like 40% of the people that voted for Obama were Catholic.
Yeah.
He was like the most abortion-friendly president we've had.
And you know why they continue to do that? Because the church won't tell them what they're doing, what they're jeopardizing. And it's black and white to me, no pun intended. But if you're voting for anyone that is pro-choice, you're voting for Satan's.
Right.
It's just, you know, and why don't they know that? You know, they kind of got their hands tied. I understand there's a lot more laws and rules, you know, that I don't know, but it's enough to make me angry, and I'll fight right alongside of you. I appreciate you coming out. Is there anything else you need to make sure that people find out here, know about Zachary King?
Do you have time to read the letter in the back of the book? It's like the final 2 pages.
April 3rd, 2017?
Yes.
To whom it may concern, for the past several years I have known Mr. Zachary King and have been impressed by his testimony of how God rescued him from the kingdom of darkness and brought him into the kingdom of light, from the service of Satan to the service of the true God, and from supporting abortion to supporting the protection of every life, born and unborn. I praise God for Zachary's testimony and urge everyone to listen to it. For those who serve the Lord, it will be a blessing of encouragement. For those unsure of their path in life, it will be a guiding light. For those who still are trapped in darkness, it will be a clear summons to come to Christ. My prayer is that both Zachary and all those who hear his story will enjoy the fullness of God's protection and life. Very nice. Sincerely, Father Frank Pavone. So, the spiritual warfare, any hints, suggestions for those who need to join the battle? Because you were asked. Not everybody gets the blessed honor to invite them to the army. So, the spiritual warfare, I think that's why I was asked to do this, because I'm intrigued by it. It's one of those things that not everybody's comfortable with, and, here I am, send me, Lord. What can I do?
We've, my CD set came out in December 2015, and we have shut down 39 abortion clinics around the world, including in Louisiana. There's 2 abortion clinics left.
Praise God.
So we're doing the best we can, but if somebody wants to check out my website, it's allsaintsministry.org, and I have videos on my YouTube channel. And if you don't want to buy the CD set or buy the book, I have videos that tell you the different steps for how to shut down an abortion clinic through spiritual warfare. Or you can call me directly and ask me, and I'll tell you.
So how long have you lost your sight?
I started going blind in 2012.
And completely gone now? I know you have a handler and a cane, and it's tough to get around, but wow, the Lord is obviously running your life, and you're happy and at peace. I've talked to you a couple times now, and it's noticeable. Even though you have, troubles with, our senses.
Right, but, my life is so much better working for God than it was working for the devil.
Amen.
And, I know who wins in the end.
So does the Blessed Mother, isn't that cool?
She's a cool lady.
That's beautiful. Well, Zach King, here, I'm going to shake your hand. Thank you for coming in and spending a little time with us and explaining that, folks, no matter what you think you've done, this man here can tell you that he can beat you at doing things that he shouldn't have done and bad stuff. But as the prodigal son was coming, God ran and met him, and now he's using this soldier in spiritual warfare, and it's fantastic. So the sacraments, get back to confession. You can and will be forgiven. Doesn't matter what you've done. Now, did you have a problem with that, thinking, how are they going to possibly forgive me?
No, I truly believed that God could forgive anything.
Were you baptized before, or did you get that too?
No, I was baptized.
Okay, that would have been nice, though.
As a
get that blood stuff off of you, Fantastic. Well, until we do this again, thank you again. That's Zachary King. My name's Matt Logman. This is SJEN TV, where it's a good day to be Catholic.
Ayan, so I'm sure na sobra ka na-bless sa naging conversion story ni Zachary King. Diba? How God is faithful even sa mga satanista na katulad ni Zachary King. At ngayon, sobrang passionate siya para labanan ang abortion and to preach the gospel and to preach the Catholic faith to those people na naliligaw. At ngayon, ginagamit siya ng Diyos, di ba, para maging inspirasyon sa maraming Katoliko. I'm sure na inaabangan mo yung mechanics kung paano ka pwedeng manalo ng I Conquered 2020 with Jesus na merchandise mugs. So, 3 lang ang gagawin mo. Okay, ito yung mechanics. Number 1, make sure na i-like at i-share mo tong vlog na to. Second, kung hindi ka pa subscriber ng aking YouTube channel, make sure na mag-subscribe ka. At kung sa Facebook mo to pinapanood, make sure na i-follow at i-like mo ang aking page. And third, ito yung pinaka-importante. Make sure na mag-iwan ka ng comment sa baba ng video nito, nitong vlog na to, dahil dun tayo mamimili ng 7 mananalo ng ating I Conquered 2020 with Jesus na merchandise mugs. Simple lang yung mechanics. Okay, mamimili tayo ng 7 mananalo ng ating merchandise item. After 1 week, okay, i-announce natin kung sino yung mananalo ng ating merchandise item. So again, maraming salamat ulit mga ka-faith sa inyong suporta. At pinapangako ko sa inyo ngayong 2021, mas marami pa akong i-share sa inyo ng mga information, mga Catholic faith vlog na katulad nito, na alam ko na sobrang mabibless ka at alam ko na sobrang marami kang matututunan about your Catholic faith. Thank you so much. May God bless you more abundantly. Mga ka-faith, maraming salamat sa inyong suporta sa ating Katoliko Ako merchandise dahil number 1 pa rin tayo sa Shirtly Marketplace. Dito sa may trending section, makikita nyo, number 1 pa rin ang ating Katoliko Ako merchandise. And hindi lang yon, pati yung ating bagong release na design na I Conquered 2020 with Jesus ay kasama sa ating trending section. Thank you so much mga ka-faith for your support. Paano ka nga ba makakabili ng ating mga merchandise sa Adrian Milag TV merch store? Ganito lang gagawin mo sa ating merchandise store. I-click mo lang yung item na nagustuhan mo. Kunyari, itong I Conquered 2020 with Jesus. Meron tayong extra small, medium, large, XL, 2XL, and 3XL. Pwede mo add to cart yan kung gusto mo pang bumili ng other merch item katulad nito. Yan, add to cart mo lang. Kung ito lang ang gusto mong bilhin, click mo lang yung buy it now. Mapupunta ka dito sa ating order form. So, i-fill up mo lang itong mga necessary information. Huwag mong kakalimutan na ilagay ang iyong tamang contact number dahil merong magte-text at kukontak sa'yo na magde-deliver ng ating mga merchandise item. Okay, so pag na-fill up mo na lahat yan, punta ka lang sa may continue shipping. So, mapupunta ka na sa ating mode of payment. And good news, nagdi-deliver tayo sa buong Pilipinas. Pero ang ating cash on delivery ay available lang sa Metro Manila, Cavite, Laguna, Batangas, Bulacan, at Rizal. Outside these areas, pwede kayong magbayad through GCash, DragonPay, PayPal, and credit card. At nagdi-deliver din tayo international. Kung saan at paano ka pwedeng makabili ng ating mga merchandise item, ang link ay nasa baba sa may description ng video na to. At ilalagay ko din yung link dyan sa may comment section. I-click mo lang yon. Pwede ka rin mag-message sa akin sa aking Facebook page sa detalye kung saan ka pwedeng makabili sa ating mga merchandise item. So that's it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope na na-bless at na-inspire ka dito sa aking vlog. Make sure na i-like mo at mag-comment ka sa baba ng video na to at mag-subscribe ka sa aking YouTube channel para lagi kang updated sa mga bagong vlog na gagawin ko. At huwag mo din kakalimutan na i-like ang aking page. So this been Adrian Milag, encouraging you to live your life to the fullest. God bless you more abundantly.